continuing with the theory portion or theory chapters. Last session we did glass and metals. Now we will do plastic and paints. Paint, when we say it's a finishing product, that means the last thing what is going to come onto either a piece of furniture, wall, ceiling, even on floor. The last thing, a paint. When I say paint, it's a fluid, it's a paste prepared by dissolving a base into a vehicle. It's a carrier. Along with coloring pigment is known as paint. That means I put few things together and it's called as paint. That is a base, vehicle, pigment, a dryer. All put together, it's called as paint. I can paint on surfaces like timber, plastered wall surface. It's weather resisting, its pleasing appearance can be applied according to the nature of the material or the surface for decorative effects, also for sanitation purpose, and it improves the illumination. It brightens up the interior where I have applied paints. Ingredients of paint, that is the next part. That means what all I put together and I make paint. The first thing what is as an ingredient is a base. That means which is the body of the paint. Provides strength, which is white or red lead, zinc, white titanium. These things are the base. It's actually chemical, all put together. Then you have with the base a chemical, which is a vehicle, a carrier. A vehicle is a liquid which carries the solid material of base and it spreads easily. That means it takes the paint from one place to another place. And vehicle, the type of vehicle what I use with the base is either a linseed oil in different form. It can be poppy oil, nut oil, or even water. See, this is where I classify my paint, whether it can be a water-based paint or an oil-based paint. Moving ahead, again then I have coloring pigment, which gives color to my paint, which provides shades and color. Like my painter used to use, I'm using the word, used to use. Nowadays we don't use stainers. It was a small bottle white in color with a red cap, stainer. The kind of color I wanted, I used to mix and make colors. Nowadays we don't mix and make colors. It's readily available in the market. You just have to give the code. He punches in the code into the computer and you get that color directly into the can. Then with coloring pigment, I need my paint to dry. That's the reason I have dryer in the paint, which is like a litharge and lead. It quickens or it speeds up the process of drying. Solvent, that's the next thing what is there in your paint, or thinner to make the application of the paint smooth, like turpentine, petroleum, spirit. These are the things which when added, it dissolves, it thins the paint and it becomes easier for us to apply it onto a surface. The last thing is inert fillers. That modifies the weight of the paint and makes it economical. Inert fillers, it modifies the weight of the paint and makes it economical. So when I put together inert fillers, base, pigments, dryers, vehicle, all put together, we call it as paint. This is the basic function of the paint. The first function, it protects. So whether I use a paint for exterior purpose or interior purpose, it protects the surface for a longer period than whether the surface is wood, metal, or a plastered wall surface. To prevent decay of wooden members and corrosion of metal surfaces. To provide colorful and pleasing appearances to the surface. Types of paint. As I had already said, when I say types of paint, there are two. One which is oil based, the other one which is water based. That means you mix water, you can apply paint, you mix oil, or the oil is already present in the can and you apply paint. When I say water based, they are the cheap type of paints which is available in the market. Distemper, whitewash, plastic paint. These are all water based. When I talk about paints like enamel paint, luster paint and all, they are oil based paints. Characteristics of a paint: it should stick well to the surface, it should be easily workable. That means when I'm applying it, it should be easily be applied onto that surface. Dry rapidly, should withstand adverse weather. These are the qualities or the characteristic a paint should have. Process of painting. Now, when I say process, that means how does one paint a surface? I know we have seen a painter working, but we must have not seen him minutely the way he works or he paints, applies paint to a surface. And there will be a different way of painting a plastered wall surface to a metal surface to a wooden surface. Then whether the surface is old or new, again that's where the difference is. When I say it's a new surface, I have to take care of the surface by applying first the primer. And with the primer, I'll not go much in detail. There are two words which were used: stopping and knotting. That is where you used to take care of the knots and minute holes and all, where you used to fill them in with putties. Yes, or we even call them as lambis and all. So we do that process, we then apply primer. Keep one thing in mind: primers for plastered wall surface, metal surface and wooden surface. There are different primers available in the market. With the primers, even the lambi or putty or pulti, what they call it as, these things are also different for walls, for wood and for metal surface. In fact, you can even see them in different colors. You cannot put the same lambi what you are applying onto a plastered wall surface onto a metal surface. Sorry, it will not survive. Once the lambi or putty applied onto a wall, before that the priming surface, the primer, we call it as primer. It's a first coat which is not a paint, but it creates a film between the surface and the outside, so that when I'm applying paint, it does not absorb more quantity or more amount of paint. I apply primer. So cement primer, which is used for walls. Similarly, I use red oxide, yellow oxide. These are my primers for metal surfaces. Same thing, or similarly, I'll have primers for my wood also. Once the primer dries, the next process is to put sandpaper. That means I have to scrape it, make the surface little bit rough, so that when I'm applying lambi or putty to it, it adheres to it, it sticks to it. So remember, always during the process of painting, whatever you apply needs to dry first. Once it is dried, you have to put a sandpaper, or sanding needs to be done. Coming to sandpaper, again, a sandpaper is different for a plastered wall surface, a sandpaper is different for a metal surface, and a sandpaper is different for a wood surface. They're all different. They have all different numbers. When I say different sandpaper with different numbers, is the thickness or the roughness of the paper, the roughness of the sand which is there on the paper. And as and how I proceed ahead, the number goes on decreasing. The last one is 0. It's very minute, it's very fine. And these paper is the last one, is just before you apply the final coat of paint. So the first coat is the primer. I do my lambi, it dries. I do sanding, it dries again. I do the next coat of lambi, again it dries, again I do. Remember again, when I say lambi and putty, it's not to level the surface or balance the wall. It's just to create a base so that my paints comes onto it. You cannot apply 12 mm or 6 mm thick lambi. Sorry, this is where POP comes in. So if you want to level the wall, which is uneven, too much level difference, you need to apply POP. Once the POP dries up, you do priming. Primer does dry, you apply lambi. You apply sanding onto it. Finally, then you apply the first coat. We earlier used to call it as Gattu. Yes, it's a red color can, Asian paints, which we call it as Gattu, which is not a paint, it's a first coat of paint. Once Gattu dries, again you apply a sanding coat. First coat, it dries. Second coat, third coat. For final and better coat, once your furniture is moved in, you apply 2 more coats to give a final coat. This is a process I carry on onto a new surface. That means primer, knotting, stopping, then the Gattu coat, and then first, second, third, and as and how I need the finish, I'll apply the coats of paints. Same thing I'll do for metals and wood surface also. Difference will be again even in the type of paint I'm going to use on wood, on metal, and on a plastered wall surface, whether they are oil based or they are water based. Then when I'm painting old surfaces, I need to scrape off the paint. Yes, I need to remove the earlier existing paint onto that surface. If it is a water based paint, I can normally scrape it off, but then if it is an oil based paint, I need a remover. In those days we never had remover, we used to torch them. Yes, we used to apply fire to enamel paint and then remove them. Nowadays you have paint removers, you just apply the remover, the paint comes off, and that's where you start the process of again sanding. First coat, drying, again sand, second coat, sanding, drying, putting a coat of paint till the time you get the finishing coat. So, process of painting. I might be saying, you might be listening to it, but then the best way to learn this and understand this is to see a painter, how does he do work. How does he apply paint? And when I say apply paint, whether he uses a brush, he uses a roller, he uses different types of roller till the time if you say you need a textured paint onto a wall. And when I'm spraying, yes, I'm using the word spraying a paint onto a furniture piece or onto a metal surface. So I can brush it, I can brush paint, I can roll, use roller for painting, I can even spray for painting process. So these are my process. Yes, once I have painted, there might be some failures. One needs to understand why the failures are there, why there are defects once I have painted. So the major reason is maybe the surface was not prepared for the painting. The wall was still wet once the paint was applied. The walls had cracked, and over that there was no filling done and the paint was applied. The quality of paint, the quality of workmanship. So there are a lot of things which can go wrong and you might get defects and failures in paint. Blisters happen. This is all. Efflorescence. Yes, the word efflorescence. Formation of salt. That means the wall which was plastered had not dried up, it was not cured. Yes, I'm using the word cured properly. The salt was still there. The water which was used for curing had salt in it. So efflorescence, the white patch which comes on the paint. So these are the few defects and failures onto paint. Different types of paint. So normally you can log into any of the website or any of the company which gives you paint. Best one, Asian Paints. Just see what all different types of paints they are giving you. Application, the way I said, you apply them. Water base, distempers, whitewash, or we also call it as lime wash. It's a basic type of paint. It's all water based. You get a paste nowadays in the market, you pour water into it, you mix it and you apply it onto the wall with the help of a brush. After painting I'm doing on walls, I'm doing on ceilings. At times I'm even painting on furnitures. But then if I want to remove the quality, or the other way of saying is, if I need to show the quality of the base, when I say quality of the base is wood or I'm using veneer, I cannot paint them. Keep one thing in mind, you cannot paint natural material available or available in the nature like stone. Same thing with wood. You cannot paint wood. The moment you paint wood, it's dead. The grains are not seen. So if I want to highlight the grains, then what do I use? So that's where varnish. Yes, varnish. It's a kind of a liquid which comes into the picture, which is transparent. It's a transparent liquid which can be applied by just means of wet cloth, and you'll see the grains. When I'm putting veneers onto furnitures, this is where we used to use varnish. We used to lacquer them. Now, varnish and lacquer, these are things which were used during the Romans and the Greeks. They were the ones, and these were extract taken either from spices or fruits or plants, trees. These were the extracts taken. So the painting, the color of the painting, what I'm seeing in the pyramid, it's actually not paints. These were extracts taken out from trees and plants and flowers. But today you have all these chemicals. This is where I'll use the word now, PU coating, or it's like plastic, melamine. These are my polish or French polish, which also we call it as hand polish. So one is painting where you don't see the underneath surface. The other one is polish. So when I apply, yes, it does the same thing. It protects the surface. It gives the surface a very nice look, a bright look. In fact, it gives a much more better look to the raw wood when I use melamine polish. And yes, this I spray. I use melamine, I spray them. Then I get different finishes in melamine. I get matte finish, I get glossy finish. I can mix these compounds or these liquids and I can get semi-gloss also. So from varnish to lacquer to French polish to melamine polish to PU coating and poly coating. That means in the last, actually like a surface of glass onto a wood surface. Yes, it gives an appearance of a glass onto a wood surface. And the finish product looks excellent. So I need to see a brighter furniture which is solid wood, or I'm using veneers on it. You need to melamine them. So from painting to polish, the difference, what will happen if I paint, what will happen if I polish it. how much wear and tear a paint will take, how much wear and tear a melamine polish is going to take. That's the reason. Again, I'm saying, look out in the market the kind of paint, Teflon coated paint, which was never ever available, weather resisting paint, dust resisting or bacteria resisting paints. So these are the new types of paint which are available in the market. In fact, nowadays you don't need to go to that lengthy process of doing lambi, putty, knotting, stopping. Yes, for y'all to remember it when you're giving your exams. But then when you're sitting with your faculty or giving your viva or tomorrow in the market, you should know what is the new type. A paint which has less lead in it. Yes, I had said, if you remember in the beginning, lead. Today you're getting paints which has low VOC, lead contents, which is less, which was harmful, which is still harmful, which is there in the paint. Go through the ads which are shown onto the TV, or if you go through the website, please look into this word low VOC, that means low lead. Today we are talking about sustainable interiors and all, low carbon contents. This is all where it starts. You need to go into the depth, into the detail. I know I'm going in a I know I'm going very fast maybe, but I can't help it. This is just the period where I can give it to you in this form. If it was a regular theory lecture in one of my class, if it would have been different. Because I have to condense it in a small, you might be finding it lengthy, you might be finding it a little bit boring. I know, but just cope up with it. You'll need to go again and again onto this to understand it more better. But very basic, simple way to understand is what I need first, what I need second, and what I need in the end. First, what I need is the basic question and answers for me to understand what a material is, what is its uses, its properties. Very basic. Second, the form, or in what way it's available in the market. And then when I'm going to use it into my projects, then how it's going to help me. How will I be able to answer for that material what I've used in my design. Please go through this. Go through your textbook, and then just not the textbook, again what's happening outside in the real world, which is going to help you out. Thank you.